In the book of Revelation, we find several series of sevens. The first series, apart from the letters, are the seven seals. The seven seals seem to start with what I would call early warning signs of the time of the end, and they lead all the way to what appears to be the coming of Christ when he gathers up his followers at his return. The seven seals are sequential visions describing events which will take place on earth during the time of the end. When John received these visions, he was caught up in the Spirit into heaven, so he saw both sides of the visions, the supernatural or spiritual and the natural. We're going to address ourselves to what appears to be the natural and the things that would take place on earth. We also want to keep in mind that these seven seals seal a scroll or a book. The first four seals refer to colored horses, which represent areas of the earth from the vantage point of Israel. All prophecies come from the vantage point of Israel. All prophecies are history written in advance. The black horses, as we see in Zechariah, go to the north. The white horses are assigned to the west. The dappled or pale horses are assigned to the south. And the red horses toward the east, all from the vantage point of Israel. Now, as we take into consideration the assignments we saw in Zechariah, this we're looking at the white horse from the vantage point of Israel. And as we look at what happens when the first seal and the white horse and its rider come out, we have a perspective of where this might take place in the world. So now let's take a look at the white horse. Its rider, we're told, held a bow, and he was given a crown, and he rode out as a conqueror bent on conquest. This seal, I believe, has already been opened. I believe the white horse, as we see in Zechariah, is assigned to the west, which, as we saw on the map previously, points at the United States. The leader of the west held a bow. He was the commander-in-chief, and he was given a crown. He won an election, and he rode out as a conqueror, conquering the Taliban and conquering Iraq, and he's determined to win the war on terror. So the West declares war on terror. This is the first seal, the white horse. The second seal is opened, and a red horse comes out, and its rider is given power to take peace from the earth and make men slay each other. To him is given a large weapon. I believe that this seal is about to be opened. So if indeed the West has gone out declaring war on terror, and now we see the next horse and rider come out, the red horse, from the east. A leader from the east is given power to take peace from the earth. This would appear to be world war, and he's given a large weapon. Any number of possibilities there. But if the first seal is open, then the next seal certainly would be the one to come. When the third seal is open, a black horse comes out from the north, and the leader of the north is holding a pair of scales, and it indicates that a quart of wheat, or the amount of wheat for a day's worth of bread, now cost a day's wages. Apparently, the wheat and the barley have been damaged, but it says do not damage the oil and the wine. This would be the north damaging wheat and barley. Then the pale horse from the south, which would be Africa, we find that death and Hades is given power over a quarter of the earth, perhaps that whole continent at this time, and to kill by sword, famine, plague, and wild beast. War, famine, plague, and wild beast. The first four seals, the first early warning signs during the time of the end. Once again, as we look at the map, the black horses are assigned to the north. The north will cause great damage to the wheat and barley. And then we see the pale horse, which goes to the south of Israel. And again, this looks like Africa. And we see sword, famine, plague, and wild beast, death, reigned supreme in Africa over a quarter of the world's population at the time. These are the first 4 seals. When the 5th seal is open, we see under the altar the souls of the saints, and they were told to wait a little longer until their fellow servants and brothers, who were to be killed as they had been, was completed. Then we're told at the 6th seal that there was a great earthquake, and the sun and the moon and the stars turned dark. The sun and the moon and the stars turning dark is a marker. It indicates that the day of the Lord is imminent, because the sun and the moon and the stars turn dark just before the coming great and dreadful day of the Lord. And everyone hid in caves to hide from the great day of their wrath. In other words, this seal is indicating that the day of the Lord, the return of Christ, is imminent. Christ returns, gathers up his followers, ushers in the kingdom of God, and then the wrath of God is poured out on the unbelieving and disobedient world. Now the 7th seal is about to be opened. When the 7th seal is broken open, the book of life will be opened. Now let's read what happens. When he opened the 7th seal, there was silence in heaven for about a half an hour. That would be a great silence. In Isaiah we read about the scroll. It says, "Look in the scroll of the Lord and read. None of these will be missing. His mouth has given the order, and his spirit will gather them together." So when the book of life is opened, the scroll is opened, God gives the order, and his angels harvest the elect. This would be at his return. Over the last almost 2,000 years now, many people have come up with a lot of different theories about what the seals signify. And of course, this theory of mine is new. I don't think I've ever heard it before. But it seems to apply to our current situation today, and it takes into consideration the subtleties and the precision of the prophecies in the book. So I think we need to examine what it says. Read our Bibles to see if God is indicating the time is near.